You're trusting things right now that God never told you to trust. And some of them feel so normal, so reasonable, so safe, you don't even question them anymore. That is what makes them dangerous. Because not everything you lean on is sin. Some things are just not God. And when you build your peace on something God never told you to build on, it will eventually fail you. Not because God failed, but because you trusted what He never said to trust. Here are 5 things many people rely on every day that God never told them to. Thing number 1, your feelings. This is where a lot of people start. If it feels peaceful, they trust it. If it feels heavy, they avoid it. If it feels exciting, they run toward it. If it feels uncomfortable, they assume God cannot be in it. But God never told you to trust your feelings. Your feelings can be real and still be wrong. They can be intense and still be misleading. They can feel spiritual and still come from fear, pride, loneliness, hurt, or desire. That is why Proverbs 3:5 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding." God did not say, "Trust whatever feels right." He said, "Trust me." Because there will be times when obedience feels uncomfortable. There will be moments when truth does not feel exciting. There will be seasons when doing the will of God does not feel emotionally easy. And if feelings are leading you, you will mistake comfort for confirmation. You will call relief peace. You will call fear discernment. You will call hesitation wisdom. You will call desire leading. But your emotions were never meant to become your compass. They are real, but they are not your master. Just because something feels right does not mean God said yes. Thing number 2, people's opinions. And this one is deeper than most people admit. A lot of believers say they trust God, but when the pressure comes, they move according to what people think. Family, friends, church people, culture, the crowd, the people they do not want to disappoint, the people they are afraid will misunderstand them. So they keep adjusting. They soften obedience, they delay conviction, they stay where God told them to move, or they move where God never sent them. Not because God was unclear, but because human voices got louder. Galatians 1:10 says, "Am I now trying to win the approval of human beings or of God?" That question cuts deep. Because sometimes what you call wisdom is just fear of rejection. Sometimes what you call being careful is really people-pleasing. Sometimes what you call waiting on God is just waiting for everyone to approve. But God never told you to trust public opinion. He never told you to let people who cannot see what He is doing in you become the final voice over your life. People can love you and still be wrong. People can be sincere and still be blind. People can mean well and still pull you away from obedience. What people approve, God may never have spoken. Thing number 3, your own understanding. This is one of the most dangerous ones because it hides behind intelligence. It sounds mature, it sounds careful, it sounds responsible. You think it through, you analyze it, you test every angle, you want everything to make complete sense before you obey. And yes, wisdom matters, thinking matters, discernment matters. But there is a line between using your mind and trusting your mind more than God. The moment you require God to explain everything before you obey, your understanding has taken His place. Isaiah 55 says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord." That means there will be times when what God says will not fit neatly into your logic. There will be moments when obedience will look unreasonable, not because God is confused, but because your perspective is limited. You do not see the full picture. You do not know every consequence. You do not know every hidden thing. You do not know what God is preventing. You do not know what God is preparing. So when you trust only what you can explain, you stay trapped inside the limits of your own sight. And faith cannot grow there. God never told you to trust what you can fully figure out. He told you to trust him. If you only move when everything makes sense, you are not being led by faith. You are being led by explanation. Thing number 4, open doors. This one deceives a lot of people because it looks spiritual. A door opens, and they assume it must be God. An opportunity appears, and they call it confirmation. It comes quickly, it looks good, it solves a problem, it feels timely, and immediately they say, God opened this door. But God never told you that every open door is from Him. Some doors are distractions, some are tests, some are traps, some are just opportunities with no grace on them. And some doors open because the enemy knows what your flesh already wants. That is why an open door by itself means nothing. You do not judge a door just by the fact that it opened. You judge it by where it leads. Does it align with God's word? Does it pull you closer to obedience? Does it strengthen your spirit? Does it demand compromise? Does it feed pride? Does it look good outwardly while rotting you inwardly? A door can be open and still be wrong. A door can be available and still not be assigned to you. A door can look like provision and actually be permission to drift. Not every opportunity is God's will, and not every easy path has God's hand on it. A door being open is not proof that God told you to walk through it. Thing number 5, visible security. This one is quiet, but it is powerful. Money, savings, plans, connections, stability. Things you can point to. Things that make you feel safer because they are visible. And none of these things are evil by themselves. The danger is not in having them. The danger is in resting in them, because little by little, your heart starts trusting what it can see more than the God it cannot. Psalm 20:7 says, "Some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we trust in the name of the Lord our God." Today, chariots and horses may look different. They may look like a bank account, a backup plan, a certain job, a powerful connection, a stable routine, a visible system that makes you feel covered. And again, wisdom is not the problem. Stewardship is not the problem. Preparation is not the problem. The problem begins when your peace depends more on visible things than on the presence of God. Because anything visible can shake, money can move, people can leave, systems can fail, plans can collapse. What looked secure yesterday can disappear tomorrow. And if your foundation is built on what can be removed, your peace will go with it. God never told you to place your deepest trust in what can disappear, because security without God is still insecurity. So what should you trust? Not your feelings, not people's opinions, not your own understanding, not open doors, not visible security. Trust in the Lord, fully, deeply, without demanding that He explain everything first. Because anything you trust more than God will eventually expose how weak it really is. And maybe that is why some people keep feeling unstable. Not because God abandoned them, not because prayer stopped working, not because the Bible failed, but because they are leaning on things God never told them to lean on. So if this exposed something in you, do not ignore it, because sometimes God reveals what is false, not to shame you, but to free you. Sometimes He lets you see what you have really been trusting so He can become your true foundation again. And that matters. Because the thing you lean on most will shape the life you build. If one of these 5 hit you deeply, type "Trust God" in the comments and subscribe. Because a lot of what people call wisdom today, God never once called faith. And if you stay close, you will start recognizing the difference.